A need for alternative media in Australia. I'll tell you why, because I sit there in my lounge room looking at that little box sitting in front of me, spurting out all kinds of crap. My God. And they expect me to swallow it. So that's what I couldn't do. I couldn't swallow it. I couldn't swallow it. I walked over to it. I picked it up. I threw it out the window and I said, you know what? I'm going to make my own show. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my own show and I'm going to have beautiful girls on there. And so I just did it my way, you know what I mean? But we've all got to do it our own way. I mean, we can't swallow this crap anymore. We can't swallow it anymore. We can't, you know, they're telling us night is day and black is white. My God. And we all know it. We all know it at the end of the day. It's become a bit of a laughing stock. I mean, sometimes we go back for reference and turn on Channel 9. I just have a good laugh. And I suppose I laugh and I laugh and I laugh until I put my head in my hands and then I start to sob. And I'm like, oh my God, people actually believe this stuff. So that's why we need alternative media. We need to become the media. And we are. We are. You go on Twitter, you go on YouTube, you go on Facebook, and people are pulling out their iPhones and they're getting the news as it happens, mate. And then it gets filtered through to the mainstream news, and it comes out totally different out the other end. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
we all know it. We all know it's a joke. We all know that the mainstream media is a joke, and the more that we become the media, the more other people will turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to have those options there for people to go to, because if they're not, they're just going to go back to the same old heroin that they've been getting, their drug that they've been getting. Have you noticed it's like a drug, mate? People come home and they got to switch their television on when they get in the door or they feel lonely. They do. I was at that point for a while, actually, with Alex Jones. I'll admit it. I had to have InfoWars in the background. His beautiful voice was quite soothing to me. But now I've got the girls. And seriously, mate, I've got LCD screens in every room with bikini girls everywhere now. That's much better. Well, definitely. I mean, look, they want to start paying the dole recipients, and you can only go to these two stores. You can only spend our money at these two stores. I mean, you know, definitely, yeah. I mean, every way we're directed to where they want us to spend our money and what kind of corporations are in bed. You know, it's a corporate fascism. What sort of corporations are in bed with the government, and then they bring in these creeping laws all the time. I mean, what we've had here in Queensland with the VLAD laws. I mean, you can't open up a tattoo shop anymore without a government checkout. You know what I mean? It's
It's funny.
sliding downhill quick.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention these laws because I'm in Western Australia here, and this is not even covered here in Western Australia. I was coming through Queensland a few months back last year, and you guys were having big protests over there. The media in Western Australia wasn't even mentioning just a few seconds and didn't really go into any of the issues whatsoever. So, you know, it is, you could say, even within our own national news, so to speak, we're seeing that we're really being divided and conquered. And would you be able to give some West Australian listeners and viewers here some of the Australian issues which have come up recently? Because I can tell you now that the majority of West Australians have not heard of them at all. Our media has given them these national issues. The West Australian media has seemed to have blanked them out altogether.
Well, it's a little bit like the American media with what Obama's doing behind the scenes. He signed in the NDAA, and no Americans know what that is, the National Defense Authorization Act, where they can basically lock up anyone and imprison any American anywhere at any time and send them off to an offshore prison, and skip all the rules and the regulations and have their way with them pretty much. Enhanced interrogation. That's one that's been pulled over the Americans' eyes. But here in Australia, I mean, we have the VLAD laws, VLAD. After Vladimir the Impaler. He was a pretty wicked guy. Anyhow, we've got our own version of him. We brought them in here. He's called Campbell Newman. Yeah, we love the leader. Yeah, right, mate. He's pissed off a lot of people here in Queensland, buddy. And he's brought in these anti-association laws, the VLAD laws, VLAD laws, the vicious lawless association disempowerment laws. So it's to disempower people from associating with lawless people, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah.
So basically it targets anybody, any group of three, any club, any group of three, and anybody that you associate with can come under attack from these laws. So as soon as they came in, every motorcyclist out there on the road became a target. Anybody with tattoos became a target to be pulled over by police, to have photos taken, to have documentation taken. I work in the adult entertainment industry, and some of the girls driving home from work were getting pulled over at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And police were pulling them over and taking photos of all their tattoos and asking where they had extra tattoos. Can I see them?
You're joking. Wow.
Now, these are exotic dancers who have them in all sorts of places. And, of course, they were saying, with all due respect, officer, not a chance. I'm not showing you that. You're not putting your camera on that, mate. You're not getting a photo of my of my extremely erotic tattoos and my artwork. So, we went into a tattoo shop in Caloundra that is run by a rebels bikie. And he's a businessman who stands up for a lot of people in his community, and he has a lot of community backing as well. And we asked him about a gentleman called Ben Wilson. Yeah, Ben Wilson, Free Ben, the Free Ben campaign on Facebook. We asked him about him and about his incarceration. They locked him up for helping out a guy set up a clothing store. Now, Ben had never been in trouble with the police before. He'd never had a police record or anything like that. But they locked him up from who he knew. And, he got several months incarcerated. We actually have that video on Aussie Beach TV. It's called Free Ben. And it's really quite interesting because it shows that this can happen to anyone. A little bit like what we saw in Nazi Germany and things like that. People, they're coming along and they're picking people out and they're saying, right, you're a danger to society. We got to lock you up, mate.
Yes, of course. And this will extend also to what the government seems to deem as terrorists in terms of alternate media and perhaps people speaking out against government. I suppose this would be the incremental way of them bringing that through, wouldn't it?
Well, mate, I'm heading up to Brisbane in November to film the G20 for Aussie Beach TV with a gorgeous bikini girl, and I wonder if we'll be able to unveil our secret weapon in the CBD. Our secret weapon, I'll tell you what, talk about the Twin Towers, buddy. When I'm standing between a couple of those girls, bloody WTC 7 inches will rise up out of the ashes, my friend.
I dare say you get a response from some of those officials inside, being the pervs and peeps that they are. But
yeah, mate. So just going up there into the CBD area where they're going to have it all locked off with all the world's leaders, and we're just going to go up there. We're going to ask people, what do you think of this G20? Wouldn't you rather go to a footy match? Ask them a few simple questions and see if all the security is needed and what people think about it. And I wonder how we're going to be checked out, because there's a lot of people who aren't even allowed in that area, mate, that are deemed a threat and are not even allowed. They've locked down the CBD, mate. They're moving people out of their homes.
Yeah,
they're kicking people out of their homes for that period of time that the G20's on. This isn't mucking around, mate. They're showing you the power that they've got.